Hello, everyone. Jean McDonald here with Transition Tip Tuesday. I'm so glad to see you all, and I appreciate when people come up to me locally and say they watch these. So, thank you so much. I appreciate you listening. Today, I wanted to talk about an important transition that many people, especially in our community, have gone through that sometimes I don't address very much, and that is the transition into retirement. And the reason I don't always think about it a whole lot is most of the people I know aren't really retired. They may have retired from their regular careers, their long-term corporate careers or stressful careers, and now they are enjoying their later years doing what they want to do, doing things that they didn't get a chance to do before. For some, that might be traveling, which is great. I did most of my traveling when I was younger, and that was by plan because I figured when I was older, I may not be healthy enough to travel. And that can be sometimes the case. So I got that checked off early, but for some, they waited so that they can take the time to travel the country, travel the world. For others, it might be reconnecting with an old love. I know many people have reconnected to music after they've retired because it's something that they put off as they were going through their career, as they were raising their kids. But one interesting thing is that I've seen many people go back to work. Now, one friend of mine, she was a full time administrator at a college, university, and when she retired, she managed to be hired back part time as an advisor to the person who took over her position. And it was perfect for her because she still had a decent paycheck. She had she was qualified, so the job was something she had expertise in, but she didn't have that daily stress of doing that position full time. So how wonderful for her. Another couple I know that love to travel, they bought an RV and they travel all over the country. Well, for them, what they started doing was doing pet sitting. In fact, I found out about them because two friends of mine back in Tacoma used to hire them every year because they would take an extended vacation to Mexico every year. They'd go to Mexico. They both worked at the time, but they would combine all their vacation time and go to Mexico for 1 month every year. But they had dogs. They didn't want to leave the dogs. They didn't want to leave the house. So this couple who traveled around the country in their RV had a business where they would be house sitters and pet sitters. So they park the RV in the front, take care of the house, take care of the dogs for a whole month. And they did this year after year for the same couple. How brilliant is that? I was looking at some statistics about retirement because I feel like that's important to kind of get our heads wrapped around. But according to the Social Security Administration, a third of 65-year-olds will hit the age of 90, and 1 in 7 will live beyond the age of 95. So we're living longer. Will our money last this long? That's a big question. That's where that financial security, financial independence becomes important. And if you can't sustain, if your money's not going to last till age 100, you might consider going back to work, doing something fun, doing a dream job, creating um, a dream career, and have that help supplement your income as you get older. They found that working after retirement helps people stay more active and socially connected. So, whether you work for money, for that income, or in our community, so many people do volunteer work. It's great to see how connected our area is as volunteers. And it's nice because as a volunteer, once again, usually the position's less stressful. You have that connection and you're doing good for your community. So, The transition tip for today is as you think about your future, if you're young, try to do some of those things like travel while you're able to. Because I was also reading this morning, sometimes we get that call where, we're ready to retire, we're ready to do something for ourselves, and then we find out we end up being a caregiver for a parent, for a spouse, for a child. All of a sudden, our lives change. We don't know what's going to happen. But in that transition of going from a career and beyond, that's a good time to take some time to daydream. What are the dreams that you set aside when you were younger because you had the responsibilities of family, career? And look at those dreams and reconnect. Are those dreams still possible today? You might not be a pro baseball player or something like that, but are aspects of that dream feasible for something that you can transition to after you retire from your career? And as a transitions coach and life coaching, I've encountered many people that are in that transition from going from a career into finding something to do with their life, to create a new legacy in their lives. And that's where coaching helps. Taking classes, I've enjoyed that when I had this break of not knowing what I was going to do next. I took some classes at a local community college. And first of all, you get to connect with young people again and see what the world is like through their eyes, but also and explore some options. Who knows what's going to come up for you? But enjoy. This is one of those purposeful, fun transitions that you can create for yourself. So, with that, I'm going to say goodbye for now. Go to jeanmcdonald.com for more information about transitions. You can sign up for my newsletter that not it's not really a newsletter, it's an email that I send out on Mondays that talk about different types of transitions also. And coming up, I'll be pairing up with my friend Lori for doing some powerful tools for the caregiver classes here in the Port Angeles area, and we may offer them online also. Who knows? So stay tuned. Thank you for being here. Talk to you soon. Bye bye.